So look, guys, I've been recording these videos. Normally I'll do it when you guys go to Encore or whatever, but I'm gonna start. I'm recording it right now as we go over it in class. So if your parents or you guys watching at home, they will know exactly what we said. Okay, so it will be the exact thing we're doing. Again, when you look at your numbers, if you're happy with what you got, I mean, a lot of those are not what we would typically see on a Monday. My rule is, if I write it up here, it's probably something I would put in my notebook. It's not my way or the highway either. If you got a question right and you solved it differently than me, if your way works, that's fine. Because I got people right now that have their notebook closed, flipped over, not looking at it. Like, that's not going to help your score improve. So make sure you're watching. All right, let me get somebody to read number one, please. This was the most missed question from EOG Friday. Emerson, go ahead. Hey, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the very first week of Fan 5, dude, you gotta stop making that sound. I think the very first week of Fan 5, we had this question. Obviously, the numbers are different. But guys, we talked about when you see the word multiple, first thing I think about is multiply. And I showed you two different ways you could have gotten this answer. One of them was you could have just done exactly what it said. You could have listed the multiples. Or if you know your multiplication facts, you can get it like that. So let's list multiples first. And watch how much work we have to do for this question. Who can tell me the first multiple of 9? Asher, what would it be? First multiple of 9 is 9. 9 times 1. What do you notice? When would you notice? Guys, we skipped right past 1. What does that mean? Grayson? Guys, 1 is not a multiple of 9. I got my answer and I've literally had to put 1 multiple down. And look, we can prove it we can continue to list multiples because 9 times 2 is what?
18.
Here's how you get rid of the next answer. What's 9 times 3?
27.
That gets rid of B. That is a multiple. I'm going to give you my next multiple. Maggie? 36. That doesn't really help me. What's my next multiple? Addie? 45. That gets rid of C. I just got my next multiple. If I go 9 times 6. Asher?
36.
That's 9 times 4. 9 times 5. What would 9 times 6 be? 54. That doesn't help me. Keep going. 9 times 7, Elijah. 63. That gets rid of D. So, guys, you could tomorrow list your multiples or just say, hey, I know this is 9 times 3. That's a multiple. This is 9 times 5. That's a multiple. This is 9 times 7. That's a multiple. The thing you can't do, don't confuse multiples and factors. Factors are what you can multiply to get a number. Because 1 would be a factor of 9, but it's not a multiple. So just say multiply, list those multiples. It was the most missed on Friday. I think we did much better today. Any questions on 1? Rich, I think you got 1 correct. All right, so look, we got 19 people in here. We went 15 out of 19 on Monday. I think that's one that we can have everybody get right, honestly, tomorrow. All right, good start. Can I get somebody to read number 2 once I move all of this? Now we're awake. All right, let's read number 2, Airly.
7,834 minutes. How many minutes did she practice rounded to the nearest 100?
I'm just curious. I gotta see how many hours that is. 7,384 divided by. She practiced TikTok dances for 123 hours.
What?
She practiced TikTok dances for 5 days. All right, guys. So look, this is not something we've talked about at all this year. I know for a fact you guys have rounded numbers in the past, probably as late as last year, right? So I'm going to show you the simplest way that I have. There's a complicated way we can do this, but if I'm rounding, guys, I'm just going to underline, or we're going to rewrite our number. And place value is important for this because if you look at the wrong place, you're going to miss it. Guys, we're rounding it to the nearest hundreds place. What number is in the hundreds place, Rose? 3. So look what I'm going to do. I'm just going to underline that 3. And guys, I am always going to look at that number to the right. Like every time I round my picture or my work will look exactly like that. You'll see a digit underlined. You'll see an arrow pointing to the right. All right. And we always say 5 or more, you let it soar. Meaning, what's up?
So I did my work for B but I had like stopped in the middle of my B and put D.
Hey, and look, on the EOG, remember we talked about this. If you have perfect work, and you put the wrong answer, they gonna count it right or wrong. Bro, and guys, when I say, hey, if you finish in 10 minutes and you have 5 extra minutes, double check, make sure your answers match. You gotta do that. All right, back to what I was saying. Hey, 5 or more, you let it soar, meaning we're gonna round up. If it's 4 or less, you let it rest, meaning you're not gonna change it. We're talking about the number to the right. Well, if you look at the number 8, is that 5 or more, or is that 4 or less? That's 5 or more, so we're gonna let it soar. And the number we're talking about soaring is the number that's underlined. The number in the thousands place isn't changing. That's still 7,000. If I round 3 up, what's that next number gonna be, Maggie?
4.
It's gonna change to a 4. And then guys, what happens to your remaining zeros? Or what happens to your remaining numbers, Grayson?
They all become zeros.
They're all gonna change to zeros, and that would change to 7,400. There's a ton of different ways you can round. I noticed people who miss this, some people rounded the wrong place value. So it is important to make sure you're underlining whatever place you're rounded to, looking to the right, and that would have given you B. Since we did that one really quick, I'm just gonna do another one really fast. Rose?
I didn't I remembered 100 has 2 zeros, and that we have to round to the nearest 100, so I put the.
Yeah, I can sit up here and show you ways to round numbers until we switch classes. If your way works, do it. Let me get our number first. Raise your hand if you had 2 correct. All right, so that one's 14. Just somewhere on your page right here, I'm gonna give you a different number. Let's say I gave you 13,356. Right, so write that number down. Thank you to those who are writing that down. I don't care where you do it, as long as I just want you to try it. Round this number to the nearest tens place. Round that number to the nearest tens place. When you think you have an answer, just put your hand in the air, be patient. Got a few hands and give everybody a chance. A lot of hands. Give you about 10 more seconds. All right, I want to try this. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. Let's see if we can all say our answer at the same time. Hopefully, we're all saying the same thing. 3, 2, 1.
13,360.
Sounded like most people had it. How many people had this exact thing on their paper? Again, you don't have to do it that way, but it helps. Look, 5 or more, let it soar. So the numbers to the left, those aren't changing. That 5 is going to soar to a 6. The remaining numbers change to zeros. It would have been 13,360. Been a while since you've done that, probably. We will round with much bigger numbers. So we'll start small, but they'll end up we'll start adding some digits there. All right, number 3 was my favorite question on here. Somebody read number 3. Because you guys did it. Hey, I'm impressed with the people who did the work for number 3. I'm going to make your life so much easier. Go ahead, person.
Joshua takes 5,248 steps every day. How many steps will he take? Will she take in 6 days?
I should have said he does, my fault. How many people said, holy moly, that's a lot of addition I have to do? I saw quite a few people who did 5,248 plus 5,248 plus 5,248 plus 5,248 plus 5,248 plus 5,248. You could do that every time, and it would work. What is the same thing as repeated addition? Instead of doing repeated addition, what is the same as that, Berkeley? Multiplication. And you're probably sitting there thinking, dude, I can barely do 12 times 6. You want me to do 5,248 times 6? Watch how easy this is. Again, if this was in your notebook, it would help you a ton tomorrow. We're going to stack it up. 5,248 times 6, just like that. Now look, if you don't know your facts, this question will not be easy. Might be a little more challenging. You might have to do the addition. But watch if you know your facts, how much less challenging it gets. We're going to start in the ones place. If I did 6 times 8, Grayson, what would I get?
48.
My 8's going to stay. My 4 is going to go. Y'all know me. I'm going to circle it so I don't forget. All right, I've multiplied by the ones. Now I'm going across to the tens place. I'm gonna go 6 times 4. Anybody, what would I get?
24.
I'm gonna try that again. 6 times 4, I would get what?
24.
24 plus that 4 that I carried over would give me 28. My 8 stays, my 2 goes. I'm gonna circle it. I've multiplied by my ones, by my tens. Now I'm going across to multiply by my hundreds. 6 times 2,
12.
12 plus 2. My 4 stays, my 1 goes. Again, circling it so I don't forget. Going all the way across to the thousands place. 6 times 5. Anybody?
30.
That's going to be 30 plus 1 is.
30.
Can somebody read that number for me? Sophia?
31,418.
Which is C. I'm sitting here telling you, if you want to do the addition, go for it. But y'all, when I get you to like imagine it said 9 days. I want you to add that number 9 times. This takes practice and you got to know your facts, but dude, it's so much faster. I think our question of the day today is just going to be a 4x1 multiplication question. That's my goal. Question, Meg.
Can you do that again?
I sure can. I'm gonna do another one. Questionnaire.
I just added 5,248 and I knew my total was gonna be that.
That works. Perfect.
I don't know if I got it right because it says I put C, but for my words I put 30,000.
See, that looks right here. Hey, so that's the opposite of what Asher did. Sometimes you got the wrong answer, but you put the right answer. That would be right. So you got lucky on that one. I am going to show you another one. If you want to, let me get this number first. Raise your hand if you got C correct. It's a lot of people doing addition. That's a good number. Man, 14s are awesome. All right, here's another one just for extra practice on your paper. You can jot it down. You can just watch. That's up to you. I don't care what the number is. Somebody give me a four-digit number, Quinn.
260.
Or 2,000. 2,843. Let's go times. We'll go times 8. Now, if we did times 2 or times 5 or times 1, of course you guys know those. We gotta work on our facts. You guys know we got our first hallway battle on Friday. Dude, I ain't trying to lose. We got to study. We got to. All right, let's look in the ones place. This is for anybody. If I went 8 times 3, what would I get? My 4 stays, my 2 goes. Once I've multiplied by the ones, I'm going to go across and multiply by my tens. 8 times 4, 32, plus that 2, 4 stays, 3 goes. Circle so I don't forget. Now I'm going across to my hundreds place. 8 times 8.
64.
Nice. 64 plus 3.
67.
Nice. 7 stays. 6 goes. Circle it. Going across to the thousands. 8 times 2.
16.
And then who can raise their hand and tell me 16 plus that final 6? Gabe?
18.
Not 18. 16 plus 6.
Oh.
Carson?
24.
Not 24. Guys, use your fingers. They're not just for picking boogers. Play. Somebody read that number, please. Gates?
22,000.
And guys, what I say is similar to questions in the past. If it were me, I would do it twice. Because you can always check multiplication with division. That's a tough one to check with division. We're not even close to being there yet. I would have done the question twice to make sure my answers match. Or if you really wanted to, you could do the addition and check it with the multiplication. It's just going to take practice. It's going to take time. Jeremy?
My stomach is hurting even more.
Okay, if you need to go, you want to go use the restroom? Okay. Gracie?
Is battle every Friday?
Probably.
Okay.
Most Fridays.
So we don't do like wall of fame when you do that with Willie Brown.
Are you talking about the thing in the hallway? That's just the 2-minute drill. Like, every teacher's gonna do that in their classrooms. They don't all have walls, so that's why they use that one. But like, you've already done that. You just gotta get your name on the wall.
Oh.
All right, number 4. I'm interested in this one. Somebody read number 4, please. Rose, go ahead.
That is twice as many touchdowns. How many touchdowns in school?
Does anybody see any words in here that look familiar? Or maybe important? Gates looks like he's about to explode. Gates, what do you see?
Is it, twice?
Close. Add a little more meat to that bone. Emerson?
Twice.
Twice as many. If you guys remember last week, every time we saw times as many, what type of question was that? That was a Carson. He nailed it. That is a multiplicative comparison. So you guys already know I would do the box method. A lot of you guys got this question correct without doing it. That's fine. But I'm going to show you what I would do. Who can tell me what I'm comparing in this question? What's getting pulled out? Maggie?
Zane, 10 touchdowns, and that's 2 times as, that's 2 times as.
So I'm comparing Zane's touchdowns and Weathers' touchdowns. Who gets a star in this one? What do you think, Berkeley? Ooh, she says both of them. You agree? Guys, it says how many they score total. They're both going to be important today. Now, here's what's different. We know we're going to get our picture from the times as many. It says twice. You guys know what twice is. If I told you to do something twice, I told you how many times. So somebody's going to get 2 boxes, but it does not say a name. It says that is 2 times as many as Weathers. Who do you think that is referring to? Who do you think is going to get the 2 boxes? Rose, what do you think? She says Weathers. Who agrees? So here's something, and Mr. Roll might end up telling you this with like context clues, or your teacher last year. You ever heard CC sub it out?
No.
So here's what we're going to do. Instead of saying that is in this question, we're going to take that out and we're going to put a name in there. Would this make sense? Weathers has twice as many touchdowns as Weathers. Okay, let's try Zane. Would it make sense to say Zane has twice as many touchdowns as Weathers?
Yes.
So that's one way you can do it. You can say, hey, instead of saying that is, let me plug those names in the question. But here's the easiest thing to remember, guys. If it ever says that is, it's always referring to the person that it mentioned right before. That means Zane is going to get the 2 boxes. What would Weathers automatically get?
1 box.
1 box. Here's where the box method is different than last week. Because we have used the twice, now we got to use the 10. Who can tell me who those 10 touchdowns belong to? Sophia, who do they belong to?
Zane.
They only belong to Zane. So I'm not going to put that big bracket and say, hey, this is equal to everybody's boxes. I'm only giving those 10 touchdowns to Zane's boxes. That's it. What do you think I would do with those 10 touchdowns if I wanted to start putting them in Zane's boxes? Because they belong to Zane. Play? What would I divide by?
5.
Not by 5. Guys, look at the picture. The whole reason for the picture is to help you with the equation. Asher?
2.
Guys, 2. Not 3, because they don't belong to Weathers. I'm just going 10 divided by 2. You guys know your facts. What's 10 divided by 2 going to give me?
5.
Guys, that means not only is there going to be 5 in both of Zane's boxes, there's going to be 5 in Weathers as well. All those boxes are going to have the same number. Why did we divide by 2 and not by 3? Why is it different this week, Maggie?
Because the 10 touchdowns belong to Zane and not.
Perfect, and that's where the reading's going to come in too. So now, when the question says how many touchdowns did they score, we know they're both important. I could skip count, I could add, I could multiply. Who can look at that picture and tell me what the answer would be? Berkeley, what would I get? It would be 15. So look, I saw the most common answer I saw that people missed, they put C, which is 5, which means really, really good math. You got to read what the question's asking. How many people got that right without using the box method? Most of you. Sometimes a T-chart works, guys, but a T-chart doesn't always work on a question like this. So that was really good. If it works for you, do it. Anybody got a question on 4? Question gates.
Do it to each other.
Questions. You guys know what a question is, correct? Any questions? All right, raise your hand if you got 4 correct. All right, that one is 12. And last but not least, number 5. Some people were drawing pictures on this one, which is great. I'm gonna make your life so much easier. Can somebody read number 5? That name is Kaylee, by the way. Elijah.
Kaylee had 28 students. She ate 3 and 4 and gave the rest to Annie. How many students is Kaylee?
So I like the effort because I saw some people that were straight. They drew 28 Skittles. They drew them all. They were sectioning them off. Guys, anytime I'm finding the fraction of a whole number, which I'm doing right here, I'm drawing the same picture every time. There you go. Finding the fraction of a whole number. Here's my 28 Skittles. Simple as that. I don't care if they said 24 dogs. My picture's going to look like this every single time. So now, here's what I'm going to do with my picture. I got to split these Skittles into whatever my denominator says. So if it says that Kaylee split these into fourths, I'm going to split my picture into fourths just like this. Get everybody from their seats see 4 different sections?
Yeah.
Cool. Now I want to see if somebody can give me an equation to match what I'm about to say. I just took 28 Skittles and split them into fourths. What equation matches what I just said, Gabe?
28 divided by 4.
Perfect. 28 divided by 4. Who can raise their hand and say, well, I know what tax I can tell you what 28 divided by 4 is? Gates? That's going to be 7. Now look, some people, once they start getting comfortable with this picture, they're going to get to this point, and you notice 7's an answer choice, right? Some people will automatically say, ooh, that's going to be my answer. And I'm going to ask you guys this question every single day this week, so I'll know who's paying attention. I'm going to say, hey, what does that 7 represent? Or I'm going to say, what does this number here represent? Guys, that means there are 7 Skittles in each of those 4 sections. If I split those 28 into 4 equal groups, there's going to be 7 in each section. Now we just have to read. It says she ate 3/4. So guys, she ate 3 of those 4 groups. So I'm going to circle 3 of those 4 groups. And I'm going to label them 8. She gave the rest to Addie. So I'm going to circle this one right here and say Addie. Addie, you got robbed. You only got 7.
No.
How many Skittles did Kaylee eat? Guys, if I've got the picture, I can look right here and see what I've got circled. I've got it labeled. Who can tell me how many Skittles Kaylee ate? Anybody?
21.
21? But you see, no matter what your number is tomorrow, if you are finding the fraction of a whole number, that picture works. If it says 6/8, you would split it into 8 sections. If it said 1/2, you just split it in half. Do you have to do it this way? Nope. Not my way or the highway. If you got a way that works, do it. Questions on 5. Questions. Raise your hand if you got 5 correct. Hey, for a Monday, I'll take that all day long, which makes that just means my expectations for the rest of the week are gonna be pretty high. So hopefully something that you wrote in your notebook is gonna help you. For the people who didn't write anything, I'm really curious to see how you do tomorrow. Hopefully we're climbing up the ladder. All right, let's get points. Let me stop this real quick. When I call your team name, bring me your notebook really quick.